Thank you. Hello, I'm Ta Enos, founder and CEO of the PA Wild Center. Our nonprofit is leading a coalition from rural Pennsylvania. We are the only outdoor rec cluster to make it to the final round. Our 13 county region is home to the greatest concentration of public lands in the Commonwealth. Almost 20 years ago, we began working together to establish our region as a premier outdoor rec destination as a way to diversify and revitalize our rural economy. More than $300 million has been invested in our cluster to date with winning results. Through Build Back Better, we will supercharge this cluster, creating a best-in-class model for rural regions. First slide.
Hello, I'm Seth Brown with Quantified Ventures. Our mission is to bring funding and financial solutions to projects that are impactful. And for the past 5 years, we have been working across the country to develop outdoor recreation infrastructure as a rural economic development and diversification plan. And we do this holistically, meaning that it's not just about the trail, it's about the ecosystem or industry cluster that enables communities to capture the opportunities that these intentional investments provide. And it's been an honor to join PA Wilds, who has over 20-year record of integrating conservation and economic development on this project. And the BBBRC represents an opportunity to implement this vision at the scale that's required and set a standard nationally for how to integrate recreation and economic development. So our core question is, how can we go from the PA Wild's greatest asset, which is its natural landscapes, to long-term living wage jobs? And to do so, we've identified these 5 pillars that make up our industry cluster map, starting with our core asset, the natural infrastructure, investments in outdoor recreation, the governance structures that enable us to manage it, and then promoting and activating it and coming to life, the destination development. And then lastly, the enabling conditions that allow the private sector to thrive. This is our cluster. And the Build Back Better program is going to touch all of these pillars. Next slide. So our phase 2 application is centered on 3 core strategies: investments in construction, catalytic infrastructure that drive visitation are unique to the landscape, activating these landscapes. And Todd's going to go in detail about what that means. And then lastly, scaling, bringing in all the forms of capital to the region that can enable future growth, public, philanthropic, and private. And Todd, turning it over to you.
Thank you, Seth. As Seth highlighted, to advance our cluster, we have municipal, state, and nonprofit partners involved in our coalition who will complete 6 catalytic rec infrastructure projects. These projects include newer expanded visitor centers and experiences and critical land and water trail linkages. These investments build on a first wave of rec infrastructure completed in the region, such as the Kinsley Bridge Skywalk and the Elk Country Visitor Center, which today draw hundreds of thousands of visitors annually. These new investments are projected to result in more than 400,000 new visitors to our highly rural landscape, 128 million in new annual spending, supporting more than 1,300 rural jobs. Next slide. In the wilds, we have learned that to be economically transformative for rural communities, recreation assets must be activated so that the private sector can leverage them in a powerful and sustainable way. We take a systems level approach to this. Our activation projects include investing in best-in-class technology for pawilds.com, our regional visitor site, that will allow rural businesses to easily plug in and sell products and services direct to consumers or business to business with the added marketing power of the region's brand. This $6 million progressive web investment has the potential to reach $50 million in annual sales, supporting many rural companies. We also plan to scale a proven brick and mortar gift shop model we founded that focuses on supporting rural entrepreneurs and stewarding our region's natural assets, while alongside that investing in marketing, workforce, and expanding the number of rural companies participating in our supply chain. The goal is to scale this regional commerce infrastructure around our rec assets to systematically build rooted local wealth in distressed rural communities. Next slide. As you can see, our cluster has cultivated a strong collection of assets over the last 20 years, but there are still significant challenges to operating a sustainable cluster in a truly rural region like the Pennsylvania Wilds, where the cost of doing business is higher, local capacity is more limited, and philanthropic and private capital per person is less than urban counterparts. If outdoor rec is going to be an economic driver for rural communities, then it needs the financing and governance structures that enable other forms of asset-based development. Through our scale component, we will tackle this. We'll work with partners to evolve our cluster's governance structures to enable us to better tee up, advance, complete, and activate future outdoor rec infrastructure projects. We will also drive private sector follow-on investment by assessing the creation of cluster-specific financing tools, such as a revolving loan fund, an OZ fund, microlending through our commerce platform, new market tax credits, and other innovative funding models. Thank you, and we'd welcome any questions.